You are completely exhausted at the end of every day, yet you have accomplished absolutely nothing. You are not lazy. You are suffering from a highly addictive disease called fake productivity. You know exactly what I mean. You spend 3 hours setting up the perfect workspace. You organize your desktop folders. You color code your calendar. You watch 5 YouTube videos on how to optimize your routine. It feels amazing. You feel incredibly busy. But then, it is 5 p.m. You look at your screen, and realize you haven't done a single piece of actual, needle-moving work. You spent 8 hours preparing to work. Kaito was the most organized inventor in the flying city of Ethel. His ultimate dream was to build a revolutionary skyship. Everyone thought he was a genius because he was always incredibly busy. But inside Kaito's workshop, there was a dark secret. There was no ship. There were only thousands of architectural drawings, perfectly categorized by color. He spent every day researching aerodynamics, buying the best tools, and sweeping the floor. He confused motion with progress. Then, the king announced a royal engineering showcase. Kaito had 1 month to present his skyship. Panic set in. But instead of building the engine, Kaito's anxiety triggered his worst habit. He bought 10 new planners to schedule his next 30 days down to the minute. The day of the showcase arrived. Rival inventors brought magnificent, smoke-belching iron ships. Kaito walked up to the king, and proudly presented a beautifully bound, color-coded folder of his daily routines. The king didn't even look at it. The entire city laughed at him. Why do smart people fall into this trap? Because of a psychological concept called motion versus action. Motion is reading 10 books about dieting. Action is eating a healthy meal. Motion is buying running shoes. Action is actually running. Motion makes you feel like you are doing something, but it produces absolutely no result. It is a biological trick. Your brain releases cheap dopamine when you check a box on a to-do list, even if that box says, organize pens. Fake productivity is just procrastination wearing a suit. Kaito returned to his workshop, completely crushed. He immediately reached for a new planner to strategize his comeback. Suddenly, an old, scarred master mechanic walked in. Without a word, the old man grabbed Kaito's beautifully organized planners, and threw them into the furnace. Stop! Kaito screamed. That is my life's work. The old master looked at him with pity. A perfect plan for a ship that doesn't exist is just a drawing, boy. Stop preparing. Build one ugly gear. Just one. The old man locked the door from the outside. Kaito was left alone with no planners, no highlighters, and no schedule. Just raw metal and tools. He felt a massive wave of anxiety. Real action involves friction. Real action means you might build something ugly. It means you might fail. He picked up a hammer. He hesitated, and struck the metal. It was a terrible strike. The metal bent wrong. He burned his hand. It was agonizing, unglamorous work. He wanted to escape back into research. But he kept striking. Hours turned into days. His desk became a filthy, chaotic mess. After a week of intense, ugly friction, Kaito stood back. On his ruined desk sat a single, perfectly functioning mechanical gear. It wasn't a blueprint. It wasn't a color-coded schedule. It was real. That single gear broke the spell of fake productivity forever. He didn't organize. He just executed. 6 months later, Kaito didn't just have a plan, he had a ship. When he flew it over the king's castle, nobody asked to see his to-do list. The world rewards execution, not preparation. Here is the invisible script you need to break today: planning is a safety blanket for your ego. If you spend 80% of your time organizing your work and only 20% doing it, you are hiding. You are avoiding the pain of doing something badly on the way to doing it well. Stop optimizing your life and start actually living it. Delete the productivity apps. Throw away the 10 different colored highlighters. Embrace the friction. Real progress is messy, confusing, and hard. If your work feels too perfectly clean, you probably aren't doing any. Tomorrow morning, I challenge you to sit at your desk and do the hardest task first. No organizing. No coffee-making rituals. Just raw, ugly execution for 60 minutes. If you can't do that, you don't have a time management problem. You have an emotional regulation problem. Because if you stay addicted to the illusion of motion, you will always be completely exhausted at the end of every day, yet you will have accomplished absolutely nothing. Discover the truth in The Time Mistake You Can't Afford, the 5 a.m. Secret. Watch this video next.